Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'm your host, Ben.
And I'm your co-host, Carissa.
Perfect. And everyone, welcome into today's program, where today on the show, we have, in the second part of the program, we will be doing computer and technology news. If we have any time left over, we'll be sure to do that. Also, in the first part of the show, though, we have a guest. Yes, and that guest is none other than Edifier. And if you haven't heard about them, high-end speakers and, a ton of different offerings in really at many, many, many different price points, as I've been kind of poking around the website. And we're going to talk all about speaker technology, what it is, how, kind of how they do it, and kind of what they have to offer. It's going to be really fun. I always enjoy our speaker guest and talking about audio technology, because while a lot of it has kind of remained the same over the past 30 years, it's the little tweaks, the little improvements that have really taken center stage with speaker technology. So everyone, before we get into that though, computeramerica.com. That's where you'll find everything, past shows, future shows, all shows that you need to know about here at Computer America. It also has the podcast, reviews, articles, show notes, and take for instance today, where if you go to our website, you find today's show, and you can find a link to our guest website. Any articles that we talk about, anything relevant to today's show can be found in one place. So if you're driving, if your hands are busy, don't worry, we got you covered. So all that being said, again, find us on social media at Computer America on all socials. And Carissa, how you doing?
Pretty okay. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Hey, I'm ready. I'm here, and I'm excited for our guest. So unless you have anything else to mention, I think we're good to go.
No, I'm ready. I'm excited too.
All right, perfect. So everyone, as I said before, today's guest, Edifier, everything about speakers, and they've been in the industry for some time now. And, hey, I feel like we're going to be getting a lot of guests like this because, let's face it, CES is going to be a little bit different this year. This is a type of product that we would see out at CES, but CES is going all digital. So, hey, that kind of works out really well for us. We get to invite guests on the show and talk about their products in depth and show you here on the program, as opposed to, going to CES and bringing it back to you. So, everyone, let's go ahead and introduce our guests. So today we have Mr. Thomas Riess. He is a public relations coordinator for the company. And Thomas, thank you so much for joining us. How you doing?
I'm doing well, and thanks for having me here.
Our pleasure, our pleasure. And this is going to be a lot of fun where, speakers, like I said, it's something that everyone uses, and some people, admittedly, they go out there, they get the $5 speakers, or they, get the hand-me-downs, and they don't think twice about it. But others are... I have never met a more picky, I guess, kind of community than the audiophile community, and kind of what makes a good speaker, and more often than not, what makes a bad speaker. So, I'm looking forward to talking about this, and our audience, I'm sure, is going to find this very interesting. But let's get a little bit of background on Edifier and a bit of background on yourself. How long have you been working with the company?
So I've been working for about 5 years now. Started in 2015, September. I've been with them through their flagship headphone launches from the H850 850. We've worked with Phil Jones in the past, creating speakers and headphones. The latest collaboration Edifier has had with Phil Jones was the AirPulse line, which is more of a made for musicians and audiophiles.
Yeah. So, and of course, that's kind of where the company got its roots. But again, kind of speak to the company's start, and were they always in the audiophile high end market? Were they kind of hoping to find something in the mid range? What was kind of the company's mission? That I always ask this of a lot of our kind of guests. What need was there in the market that this company planned to fill?
So it started off in 1996 in Beijing.
Hmm.
It is a Chinese company. They started with their slogan, "Passion for Sound."
Hmm.
So essentially, it was a brainchild of a group of music lovers who also had an entrepreneurial
Entrepreneurial.
spirit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
They've had 23 years of dedicated research and operation in the audio business and developed comprehensive compatibilities in product design, testing, and manufacturing. Um, yeah, I don't work at the headquarters,
Yeah.
so
No, no, no,
uh,
no. That's a very light touch to it, but still, even 1996, a lot has changed over the course of that time,
yeah,
and really, it's it's impressive that a speaker company kind of has been around that long. That isn't one of the much longer lived like 100-year-old companies. So I'm very
right.
happy to have you guys here, and let's go ahead and kind of talk about. Obviously, you said it was in Beijing, Chinese company, but obviously these products are available. I mean, we're looking at Edifier, the U.S. website, so these are obviously available all over the
Yeah,
world.
the company has grown quite large. They have over 3,000 employees now with 5 different offices,
Wow.
and they sell across 70 different countries
Oh,
worldwide.
wow.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Very, very big. So, with that being said, we encourage everyone out there, edifier.com, to go check out the products. And, you have a lot of different things from portable speakers, bookshelf, computer speakers, TV, home theater,
Mhm.
headphones, all that kind of thing. But I think I'll leave it to you. Where should we start for this year? What are some of the big announcements that you have this year?
So this year we released an updated design of some of our more popular speakers, the R1280 DB and the R1280 T,
Which
uh,
are portable speakers?
bookshelf speakers.
Bookshelf. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's where Edifier is moving, at least for America. They're moving more in the direction of bookshelf speakers and putting an emphasis on speakers in general, and less of an emphasis on headphones,
Mm-hmm.
at least in America.
Real quick, and I'm sure that there are lots of numbers and figures as to why they would kind of move away from the headphone market, even though so many people seem to be interested in those. But I wanted you to just real quick, for those of us out there who haven't heard, or what kind of denotes a bookshelf speaker as opposed to a standing or a portable speaker.
Oh,
What is a
so a
bookshelf
bookshelf
speaker?
speaker it's it's a term that we use for basically just 2.0. It's not a floor standing speaker, so it doesn't go from the floor to the top of the speaker.
Mm-hmm.
It's more something that you could put on like your entertainment shelf and have them on the other end of your TV, or if you have a listening room, you could just put them on the other end of your turntable.
So it's a
Or
size thing.
yeah, it's more of like something that you could put on a shelf. They
Gotcha.
can get pretty big though.
Yeah, yeah, and of course, the ones that we're looking at, appear to be, I'd say, about 10 inches. They have 25 millimeter eagle eye tweeters, 5-inch bass units. So these things are going to be able to put out, I guess, with with that size tweeter and that size bass unit, some pretty good ranges and some pretty serious bass.
Yeah, yeah. I would say Edifier's like sound signature is mostly made for bass people, but we've had a lot of people that are into metal also
Well, that's
compliment our
delightful.
speakers.
What
um,
what would you say are some of the and for those of our listeners out there who are just listening on radio, since we're talking about the R2000 DB, why don't you talk about some of the design choices and kind of what it looks like and things like that.
so for the R2000 DB, it actually started off with only the piano finish, which was the black finish. Um,
Right.
and We launched these along with a few other models, like the 1280T and 1700 T,
Hmm.
and we found that people were mostly interested in having this wood veneer. I guess it's more of a throwback to the old days when your dad would buy
70s,
certain
yeah.
speakers. Yeah, and I think people just like that look in general, especially with the audio turntables. Turntables have made a huge comeback, and I think people want to have that vintage style. So we introduced the wood version of the R2000 DB.
Very, very cool. No, they're very stylish, and again, personally a fan of the piano finish. But yeah, it's definitely a throwback to when everything was wood paneled, wood sided. That was those were the days. And of course, who would you say is kind of your primary market? Where you said obviously musicians would be interested in this, but what about people who are maybe movie lovers or people who are into kind of video games and things like that? This may be. Is it too overkill, or what segments would be interested in this?
The product that you're looking at specifically, the R2000, that actually has different EQs that you can switch between.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking for a movie, you can switch it to like a dynamic EQ. The more higher end stuff, like just the step above of this, really, the S1000 Mark, I believe it's 2,
Mark II, yeah.
has more EQs that you can switch between. It gives you a wider range of uses, or at least switching between different sound sets. These are also the updated mod. Like this year, we mostly spent it just updating our models to have better remotes, better Bluetooth. Some of these have sound spatializers, so you can actually hear the different points where sound are. Like how if you listen to music with headphones, you can hear like the different instruments. Like if you have a better quality headphone, you'll actually hear like the guitar like separate from the drums, and like have a different sound stage. So that's what we introduced with the speakers this year.
I gotcha. And by the way, because you mentioned Bluetooth, and this is another one of those nitpicks that I think audiophiles have, where the type of media and the form of media that you listen to has a big effect on really more than the hardware. But the hardware can only the hardware can only produce what the signal it's receiving kind of is. So that's why people like lossless formats and vinyls making a comeback, and lossless
FLAC.
FLAC and things like that. So but you think that Bluetooth does not kind of bottleneck the audio in any way?
No. So for these speakers, it's basically just different inputs, right? So say like the ones that you're looking at, for example, have a high res certification on it. You can tell by the yellow sticker.
Right.
And what that means is that it can play up to 256 kilohertz, I believe.
Ooh.
Which is like high res, but it also has Bluetooth in it. So if you don't want this, I think the average person in general, they won't pay any attention to that, and they'll just want to play music from their phone, right? So it just, in my opinion, it just gives you more options. If you're an audiophile and you don't want Bluetooth, you're like, Bluetooth is bad, get away from me. You can just not use it. It's fine.
I got you. So, and of course you can see the connections back here for, really any kind of input back. Here we go. And any kind of input.
Yeah, that's why we kept like the RCA as well, because people really like using RCA. It's like more antiquated, but I think it's a lot more simpler for people to use. It also has optical and coaxial for the more advanced user.
I'm a huge fan of optical. I just started using that, and I don't think I can go back after switching my PC over to that. But it again, it has as much to do with the availability of high-res music, which is thankfully becoming more and more popular. So and more available. So you could definitely take advantage of these speakers. Now, of course, when I think one of the speaker companies last year that we had on the show, and it was truly a labor of this man's love. Like he enjoyed designing his speakers from the ground up, and they were one of a kind. The price was like $5,000.
Yeah, you can get very high in audio equipment for sure.
Yeah, and you know, I say that, and he was still proud of like the price point that he hit, and I have no doubt that kind of what he was going for and what he put into it, $5,000 was probably very competitive for that type of speaker. You didn't hit that price point. You came in a little bit more reasonable.
Yeah, so Edifier is more of consumer friendly when it comes to price points. I think that's like our Edifier's strongest suit is like producing a quality speaker with a lower price. You won't get something like what the guy with the $5,000 speaker will get, but you'll get something that will satisfy you if you're an average consumer of audio equipment, or you just want to have a good sound. You don't want TV speakers anymore.
Makes perfect sense, and yeah, I mean there has to be that middle ground where people who are a little upset with kind of the run of the mill breaks every couple of months speakers, as opposed to again the $5,000 price point. There,
Yeah,
I think it's like the prosumer, or like something a little bit above the average consumer, and they're looking for a little bit more quality. So I think
Edifier's speakers have a 2-year warranty on them, so they're at least guaranteed for that. And I've worked in their customer service department, so I could tell you that their customer service is pretty good.
Perfect. Yeah, and hey, I'm sure you even know people over there who who do customer service. So with that being said, and again, we've only kind of talked about the kind of like the bookshelf speakers, and what the heck, the E30 is obviously an eye catcher as well. Bluetooth speakers as well. So.
Yeah, that I believe it's called the Spinnaker. It actually won a design award. Like a lot of their older speakers, these are a bit older than the ones that we've been talking about recently. But
right,
I believe Edifier tried to capture people's eye with the design in the early days.
Good job.
This is before I was working.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah, so they definitely won a lot of awards from like CES and Red Dot regarding the the design.
Ladies and gentlemen, Halloween's coming up. These would make amazing speaker devil horns that you can
put them on your head. Walk around.
Exactly. Yeah, and walk around. You can blast your music. So and of course you can see all the different speakers here. And by the way, just real quick, you already mentioned Phil Jones and are there any other kind of collaborations that Edifier's kind of is proud of?
I can't remember the name, but we worked with a platinum producer before, who was trying to make a break with his own rap career. I wish I could remember the name. I was trying to do my research before then, but I had some things come up that I had to take care of.
Yeah, no, and I'm sure that you have the blog here and all the posts, and I'm sure that it's somewhere listed in.
The blog is somewhat recently new.
Gotcha. Oh, okay.
We just made it last year.
I gotcha. So I was hoping to dig it back up.
It might not be up there. I mean,
yeah,
I can go and dig into my emails if you want.
No, we're good. But obviously, getting the opinion of people who, not only consume music but also create music and create things that people listen to on speakers. I'm sure that information is very valuable as well when it comes to designing new speakers. So, yeah. Let's see. The next question we have here is about charities, and obviously, I mean, a lot of companies we enjoy. We always like to highlight when companies have either green initiatives or they're part of different charities, and they, really have. They're not just a company; they're a company with, kind of a mission, and they give back to their community. Are there any charities that Edifier would like to highlight?
So as you can see, the first blog post there, Edifier, Casa de Amparo. So this is a charity that helps support abusive children, like helps support children that were abused or families that have been abused. We donated over 40 headphones this year, Bluetooth headphones.
Very nice.
And we've been told that they use the headphones for distance learning. E-learning, especially now during COVID era. So that's really nice that that's helped. And they also said that having the kids have like actual ownership over something they have helps them like mentally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I never would have thought about that, but that's what they wrote to me in the email. I was like, oh, that's really nice. Like, really good to hear that.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense, and obviously anything helps out. Obviously, between distance learning and just coming from these backgrounds that these kids have, very nice that they were able to, kind of pick a charity like that. We've seen so many causes here on the show, and I can safely say that might be the first time that we've heard a completely worthy cause, but might be the first time we've heard of that particular cause being taken up by a company. So very, very refreshing. So
I'll toot my own horn here and say I've been trying to get Edifier to do more of this kind of stuff, and I'm glad that they are, and I'm hoping I can push them to do more.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, there's so much goodwill and charity that that can be done, and obviously people take notice when companies do this kind of thing. So good on you for pushing them to do that. So there's that, and then obviously we already talked about some of the design awards that they've won in the past and things like that. But kind of this year, you said that they were looking to kind of refresh and kind of spruce up the peripherals around a lot of their devices. But at CES 2021, I'm assuming that you guys are going to showcase something out there. Are there any are you hoping to submit your products for any kind of CES awards?
So for me, I don't know what they're doing for CES this year. Unfortunately, I don't even know if they're going to be going, honestly.
I was kind of tipped off by this banner here on your website talking about CES exclusive, which
that was from 2020, earlier this year. Yeah,
2020. Yeah, we were definitely out there. Do you know where you guys showcased at CES last year? Like, were you in one of the halls, or did you get one of your own rooms?
So I didn't go. I was manning the station from the from.
You were coordinating,
Toronto.
Yeah,
from the office. So
you don't know if you guys were in like South Hall or something like that, because I think South Hall is where most of the audio stuff was.
Probably you probably have a better idea.
North Hall was like mostly like automotive and things like that. Central Hall was the big names, and then South Hall had a lot of really nice audio stuff. So I probably saw you guys out there, and I probably stopped by to say hi. And I'm glad that we were finally able to get you on the show 10 months after the fact. But still, you have amazing products. Really, again, we've only kind of been talking about the bookshelf speakers, but you have everything from computer, TV, home theater. Are there any like super flagship or anything that's that you'd really like to highlight before we kind of wrap up our interview? Like, is there what would you say is kind of your favorite product among all the different products?
So my favorite product, I like the S2000 Pro. They're the updated version for this year is the Mark III.
S2000 Pro.
I have a pair of the Pros at home actually.
S2000 Pro. Here we go. Yeah. So. Yeah, and these look to be like the flagship. Like, these are premium audiophile components, flat diagram tweeter, 4 EQ modes. Yeah, this is your thing, huh?
Yeah, I use it for mostly movies and gaming. I'm a big gamer, so.
Me too.
Me too.
Yeah.
And just because I'm curious, what is your current favorite game? Fortnite, right?
So
Obviously,
I actually run a pretty big Destiny 2 clan.
Oh yeah?
So, yeah.
I played Destiny 2 just a little bit. Like, I played a lot of I got into like Taken King, so like the very end of Destiny 1.
Oh yeah.
I was one of those people. So many people like played early Destiny, and they were like, "This is not a really good game." And then like by the time the Taken King got released, they're like, "This is a pretty good game," but people were already turned off by it. Destiny 2, I've heard great things, so it's very, very cool that you're.
Yeah, the Beyond Light expansion has got us really hyped.
Very, very cool. Yeah, and I hope that you enjoyed that, and you're able to hear all the hard work that Bungie is able to put in, using a system like this. So I definitely wish you and your clan the best of luck, and of course Edifier as well. I'm looking forward to what they announce out there at CES, and if they announce anything. But hey, what you have announced here, and kind of what you've recently launched with your new bookshelf speakers, very interesting. I want to thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, so
for having me.
Yeah, our pleasure, and we'll definitely have you guys back on to to talk about all this. And hey, until next time, have a great day. Thank you so much.
You too.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye, Thomas. Everyone, once again, that was Edifier. If you want to check them out, edifier.com. And of course, that was of course Thomas, who is a public relations coordinator for the company. Very happy to have him on. And yeah, of course, we'll have a link to that in the show notes over at computeramerica.com. And by the way, just a complete aside, doesn't really affect us, but I gotta say they have a number of sales going on right now that are like 80% off, and in some cases, the holidays.
We're all tempted.
I know the holidays are fast approaching, and when you see something that's like $60 and it's like $9, it's like, hey,
why not?
Pick something up for someone that who's hard to shop for, because a new pair of headphones never hurts. There you go. So everyone, Carissa, unless you have anything else to say about that, I think we're going to go ahead and move on to computer and technology news.
I'm ready for the news.
All right, perfect. So everyone, computer and technology news brought to you by Computer America.
Nice timing.
Thank you. All right, and now we're going to be very, very rude and eject Thomas from our call. But, again, this will be available over at computeramerica.com and in the podcast. By the time you hear this, it'll be up on the podcast and it'll be good to go. So once again, thank you, Edifier. Thank you, Thomas. And yeah, we'll go ahead and, go ahead and do computer technology news. And Carissa, you have been, of course, working furiously, and you have a number of articles here to talk about. So let's go ahead and do this. So because I didn't look up any, we're going to go ahead and pull these down. Let's talk about, we touched lightly on this, and by lightly I mean we, did a full-blown show about election meddling and election hijacking. So let's talk about this. This is from CNN, and yeah, Carissa, what? No, everything went away. 1 second. Sometimes when I drag things around the desktop, it unfortunately
makes it angry.
Yeah, does that. So, everyone, let's go ahead and talk about this. But Carissa, what caught your eye about this?
What's a massive hacking operation? The fact that there was a hacking operation in the first place.
Yeah,
frankly.
That's true. So for those of you who can't see the video portion, Microsoft takes down massive hacking operation that could have affected the election. And, I got to say that the number one source of hacking, luckily for the American population, is probably the FBI or the CIA. They are, our own government is continuously checking up on the, I guess, kind of welfare of the election cycle. Like if it's possible to hack, our own government is probably going to be the one to hack it and let them know how to fix it. Like from like a proactive kind of approach. They're not going to sit back and try to look for every possible vulnerability. They're going to try to kind of proactively take this down. So but now Microsoft looks like they're at the forefront of this as well, where Microsoft has disrupted a massive hacking operation that is said, that makes it sound like Microsoft's guilty, burn them. But no, that said, that could have indirectly affected election infrastructure if allowed to continue. They say that they took down the servers behind TrickBot, an enormous malware network that criminals are using to launch other cyber attacks, including a strain of highly potent ransomware. Microsoft said it obtained a federal court order to disable the IP address associated with the TrickBot's servers and worked with telecom providers around the world to stamp out the network. The action coincides with an offensive by U.S. Cyber Command to disrupt the cyber criminals, according to the Washington Post, and they say temporarily. So now, they've acknowledged that the attackers are likely to adapt and seek to revive their operations eventually, but they said the company's efforts reflect a new legal approach that may help authorities fight the network going forward. I guess, and by that, Microsoft obviously runs their own Windows Defender, so they have a lot of information about what kind of malware and ransomware is being circulated on Windows PCs, and Windows PCs only make up about 94% of the market. So yeah, they know pretty darn well what's going on.
Only 94%.
or whatever the current market share is. I'm sure that it's in my head, it's like a little bit more because it feels like Apple is losing some ground to Microsoft. So
I agree.
There's that. But they said that TrickBot allowed hackers to sell what Microsoft said was a service to other hackers, offering them the capability to inject vulnerable computers, routers, and other devices with other malware. And I gotta say, hacking as a service has become so prevalent. Like at this point, hacking way back in the day was, look what I can do. I can turn your entire blog or your entire forum into ASCII art, and I could do whatever I want. And then it became, I can take over your web page and inject different code into it, and people would make it look weird. And then it became, hacking has taken many forms over the past. Another form was like, I could vandalize and trick anyone I want. I could hijack people's links and redirect them anywhere I wanted. And then it became, I can inject malicious code to run in the background to mine Bitcoin. And now it's become like, instead of trying to make money doing all these different things, stealing credit card credentials and, stealing this, stealing that, or holding people ransom, another very interesting way that they are looking to make money is, of course, selling their services to people who aren't master hackers themselves. And they're just selling it as a service. It's like that kid down in Florida who paid a DDoS service to take down the entire South Florida school infrastructure, right? Yeah. It's, he was not very smart, obviously, because he got caught, but he was also not smart for doing it. And he was also not smart enough to actually do it himself. No, he paid someone else to do it for him.
That's still A for effort,
Yeah, that is how they're making money. You don't have it's not stolen money. It's not. There's really no risk about them. Kind of losing their ill-gotten gains. They're just doing a service that is illegal. So, with that being said, adversaries can use ransomware to infect a computer, and they said that to infect a computer system used to maintain voter rolls or report on election night results, seizing those systems at a prescribed hour optimized to sow chaos and distrust. So essentially what it sounds like they said was that, most of the infrastructure that we have for voting is run on Windows because Windows is, kind of the most obvious choice. Ignoring servers and things like that, the average computer that runs it is Windows. And maybe it's just kind of like them tooting their own horn, and I always look for this, Carissa. It seems like Microsoft said, we saved the election, but it was more, we stopped, one group of people from spreading malware and, during the election period. Like, it's not we saved the election, it's just we stopped this during an election. And, they're going to make a headline out of it. Still good, and obviously Microsoft, the company, being proactive in taking down these criminal circuits, that's certainly new and different and interesting. But I don't know if it is, Microsoft's, kind of stopped an imminent threat. It's like a Microsoft possibly maybe could have stopped maybe the thing that would have maybe affected the election, kinda. So there you go. There's that story. Interesting, but I think a little bit overblown. So,
probably.
Yeah, well, but hey, I'm still encouraged that Microsoft is taking such a proactive approach on this. It just so happens that they did this during the election. So, let's go ahead and I like this story. This one was announced the other day, and I'm very, very interested in knowing what exactly this means because at first blush, I'm going to ask you, Carissa. Walt Disney announces reorganization to focus on streaming. Real quick, what comes to your mind when you think about Disney going all in on streaming? Like, what would be kind of one of the most immediate side effects of that?
I'm honestly not even sure because when I think of Disney, I think of products. I think of Disney World. I think of, all of the big stuff that you see out and about, but I'm sure they're referring to like stuff behind, like the smaller stuff that Disney deals with.
And that's the thing, is that Disney has been, a little
I don't think they're
unclear.
going to close down Disney World, Disneyland, anything like that over streaming services.
Yeah, that's right. Disney World is now fully a streamed event. There's a camera walking around, and you just kind of tune into the Disney tour.
It's a GoPro on top of Mickey's head. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. And you put on VR goggles, it's like you're really next to Mickey Mouse. But yeah, so with that being said, I think that one of the, Disney as a company, and, they chose a pretty good. They chose a pretty good banner for this because it's like Disney, Pixar, Marvel. Like, really, if you think about their media business, and I think that's what they're talking about. They're reorganizing its media and entertainment sides of his business, not so much its cruise and parks and things like that. They're talking about their movies and their television shows and things like that.
Right, but they own everything. What are they reorganizing?
Well, that's the thing. They purchased, let's see, and I'm going to go ahead and look this up real quick. Disney owns, I'm sorry, let's start. What does Disney own? And not Amazon. It'd be pretty darn close to that. So here we go. Here's a map of this is awesome. I might actually include this in the, show notes. This is very, very cool. Someone put this together. Geez. These are all the companies that Disney owns. And for those of you just listening, it's pretty much all organized into different categories. Wow. And it looks like a giant Mickey Mouse head. So
can you link that to me so I can look at that a little closer?
Yeah, go for it. You link this. We're going to try to cover this here as we talk about it, but let's see. I want it. So they own Fox, so everything 20th Century Fox. Think about all the animation that they do. Think about Futurama, The Simpsons. Think about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Pretty much anything that was ever produced by Fox, they own all of that. They own all of the Fox Sports, all the networks, all of just everything that to do with football,
FX,
baseball, basketball.
National Geographic.
Yes, they own all the documentaries, Nat Geo. They own all the documentaries. They own Sky, and Sky is big in the UK. Like Sky is like their version of like BBC or CNN. Like it is like the place to get news over in the UK. Even on top of that, they have all this very German sounding, UK sounding stuff. But anyways, they also own a partial stake in Hulu as well. So with that being said, they also own Hollywood Records. They own Disney, of course, and all their publishing. They own a lot of music. They own the History Channel. They own Lifestyle, Life Entertainment, Lifetime, ABC.
ABC.
This
is amazing.
A lot of local news stations are ABC affiliates. So, like your local Channel 7.
That's all
and
Disney
like that.
too.
Yeah, all of that is, of course, they also own Sphero. I actually have a Sphero around here somewhere, which is like a little Bluetooth gadget kind of thing. But yeah, they own
it's a robot.
Yeah, yes, it is. They also own ESPN, which, obviously speaks for itself. Ladies and gentlemen, my point is, with all this that they own here, and of course, these are Walt Disney Parks experiences, consumer products, which include your Disneylands, Disney Corporate, Disney, everything else.
Construction company?
Yes. Oh, of course.
Photo bucket? Jeez. Wow.
Marvel, and then, of course, everything that they acquired with Marvel being its own multi-billion-dollar brand all by itself. Of course, everything with Star Wars as well. The point is,
surprised.
Between music, between theaters, between the movies and the sports and the television, like the parks, like this little segment here that, that is their parks, their experiences, their cruises, that kind of thing. All of that is probably going to be left alone. But then all of the rest of it, which include, the History Channel.
Use some reorganizing.
Well, that's the thing.
There's a lot.
And they're focusing on streaming. So, Carissa, I pose the question to you again. Wow. What do you think is going to happen to movie theaters, cable packages, sports? What's going to happen when Disney says, you know what, we're going all in on streaming, and they're going to make that their priority over cable packages, movie theaters, music streaming services, and Disney says, hey, we're in it for ourselves?
They're probably going to start selling that stuff, and somebody else is going to get their hands on it.
I doubt they're going to sell it. I think what's going to happen instead is that they're going to consolidate it in Disney Plus, and Disney Plus is going to become the juggernaut of streaming. And I mean, like, things are, television shows that you know and love are going to premiere on Disney Plus. Movies, the recent Mulan, we haven't gotten a real good picture on how much money that actually earned them, but I guess it was enough for them to say, we can probably start releasing AAA movies in people's homes through streaming services, which would be, like, as soon as the first Marvel movie, like as soon as the next Avengers movie comes out in your home first instead of movie theaters will be gone. Like, that is the end of the movie theater, is when Disney kind of pulls their biggest attraction and streams it to people's homes. And of course, you can think about all the different television shows that would be going directly to a streaming service, all the sports, live news, local news, all of that would be wrapped up into a streaming service. I mean, when Disney says this, and of course we're going to go ahead and get back to the article here from TechCrunch, but you can see why this had such a shakeup on the company. Like, This is huge news.
Absolutely.
And I'm actually interested what this did to Disney's stock, which, definitely had a pretty good bump. I bet they love that one. So, with that being said, on Monday, the company announced a massive reorganization of its media and entertainment business that will focus on developing products that will debut on its streaming and broadcast services. And Disney's media business, ads and distribution, and Disney Plus will now operate under the same business unit. So what you can take away from that is that because they're operating under the same business unit, you can essentially say that instead of them, kind of lightly collaborating or touching base with each other or whatever, no, they're going to be hand in hand. Disney Plus is going to be an integral part to everything that they do. Now, they said that it's a major reorganization, comes just days after activist investor Dan Loeb, a major investor, called on Disney to cancel its dividend and redirect more investments into streaming. Hey, the investor wants more investments in his investment. Interesting.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah, but they said that they've already given the seal of approval. They're up about 6%, according to the article. And Disney's announcement follows a significant reorganization of its release schedule to address new realities, including a collapsing theatrical release business. And collapsing is probably the right word for it. Production issues and the runaway success of its streaming service, all caused or accelerated by the national failure to effectively address the COVID-19 pandemic. Essentially, what they're saying here is that streaming is like catastrophe proof. Like, unless society breaks apart at the seams, everyone is still going to be able to stream movies in their home. So it's a way to kind of hedge their bets and obviously, kind of round out the business that is Disney. When you have to close everything else, they'll still have streaming. So, with that being said, planned theatrical releases of would-be tentpole films like Black Widow and have been rescheduled, while other films, including Mulan and the upcoming Pixar film Soul, are seeing their first runs on the Disney streaming service Disney Plus. So, obviously this is for growth, it's reorganization, everyone's happy about it. Now, all of the men will report to Chapek, who runs this new kind of arm. And that is Mr. Bob Chapek, by the way. He is Disney's chief executive officer in an internal released in an internal memo. Now, given the incredible success of Disney Plus and our plans to accelerate our direct-to-consumer business, we are strategically positioning our company to be more effective to support growth and strategy to the shareholder value, blah, blah, blah. Essentially, Krista, I think what this means is that products that you would see coming from Walt Disney Animation Studio, Pixar Animation Studio, Marvel Studios, Lucasfilms, 20th Century Studios, and Searchlight Pictures, all of that could see live action and animated products coming straight to Disney Plus. Yes, imagine if people saw Solo, which is a Star Wars film. Imagine if Solo was streamed directly to people's homes instead of making them go to the theater and pay for it. Solo might have actually been a very good success instead of just a moderate success.
Right.
Yeah, there are some positives that can definitely come from this.
I don't know how I feel about that, because just because of how expensive Mulan was, You know, like I feel like they're still going to have to bend somewhere if they're going to be releasing all of these movies digitally. That the price is going to have to come down. Like that's just ridiculous. You can't be buying that many movies like in your house, you know?
Well, don't forget that a big part of a big part of what they do is marketing. Like a lot of the money that goes into these films is marketing, to get people to come into the theaters, to know what's playing, and to have a kind of a limited release of their film. In some cases, hey, a Disney film could be in theaters for only 3 to 4 months, but still, being able to advertise on your own platforms and just say, hey, go check out Disney Plus, I think that a lot of money can be saved if they just promote it on their own channels and just release it on Disney Plus. And that would, of course, draw people into the service. Like all you really have to do is advertise Disney Plus and keep the decent or good, like I'm not saying amazing, but decent or good content coming, and people will still subscribe to Disney Plus. That's how it feels.
Probably.
So
I don't have it yet, but maybe I would get into it if they decided to smush all of it
tried
together.
it for like the first month, and I gotta say that I didn't keep it. I still think it's.
I've seen so many Disney movies. I don't need Disney Plus.
Yeah, but have you seen them 18,000 times?
Some of them, yeah, I have actually.
Well, there you go. Well, Disney Plus ain't for you, but for everyone else, it might be for you. And really for kids, and they're still fleshing out their catalog. For the price, they're one of the most price competitive streaming services out there. And for what they're planning, maybe over the course of 2021, 2022, it's going to be like really. In my head, it's and obviously because they own such a large stake in Hulu, they're going to pull out of Hulu and just focus on Disney Plus. Your two choices of streaming services are really just going to be Disney Plus and Netflix. Like those are going to be the behemoth juggernauts of the media companies out there. So don't get me wrong. I mean, Netflix is seeing dividends on investing that they've done over the past couple of years. Like they've invested like, $13-20 billion a year into new content. And during a pandemic, when everyone's trapped at home and they can't go to theaters, man, Netflix has just been doing amazing. But
it's true, but also they're like, scrapping all the stuff that everyone likes too. So like, I feel like there's probably a little more of a give and take than just a steady increase there.
But how fun is it going to be when they say, oh, by the way, we're going to have a season 2 of this after they canceled it? It's production schedules and things like that change all the time. I'm just saying that right now, content wise, Netflix is still better than Disney Plus, but with this announcement, eventually Disney is going to catch up to Netflix, and it's not going to take many years for them to do that, especially if they start producing things that are specifically for Disney Plus. It should be better, Carissa. I'm hoping it's better than direct to DVD Disney movies, because no one likes those. So
no, they're not good.
So there you go. There's that one. Let's see. We have plenty of time to get into some of these other stories, and let's go ahead and talk about real quick. Roblox. Okay, name that I did not think I'd see. Okay, so for those of you who don't know what Roblox is, Minecraft. Like Minecraft right now was like in that. Don't get me wrong. There's still plenty of younger kids that enjoy Minecraft. There's still that, that core demographic of 7 to 13-year-olds. It's available to everyone. Microsoft owns Minecraft, and they're pushing it like crazy. It's still the best-selling video game of all time. But among those younger audiences, there's a second game that is kind of similar, but at the same time, not at all similar. I'm sure that they would kill me just for saying that. And that is the game called Roblox. Carissa, have you ever had the pleasure?
Just a tiny bit. My niece played it a lot when she was growing up. I don't know if she still plays it or not, but she spent a lot of time on there. It's pretty much Minecraft except with a social component. So it's like a Minecraft MMO.
Think of it like that generation. Think of it like the generation after ours, Carissa. Roblox is their Sims. We have fond
Right.
memories, and we enjoy the creative aspect, and we're very nostalgic for the Sims. They had Roblox, and it was very creative, and the avatars I personally think looked ridiculous, but hey, they enjoyed that, and I've seen some very amazing creations in Roblox where. You can create like haunted houses and things like that. You can create entire adventures. I've seen a lot of recreations of media, as always, through Roblox. My point is, it's very popular, and if you haven't heard about it, you may be 5 years too old to be in the cool zone. Now, with that being said, in February, the company, which operates a free-to-play game, yes, Roblox is free to play, with tens of millions of users, it was valued at about $4 billion after another round of funding. Now the company has raised more than $335 million in venture capital funding, according to Crunchbase. Now, why is that important? Looks like they might look to, much like Epic Games is publicly traded. I think Epic Games is publicly traded. But anyways,
That sounds right.
much like I know for sure Blizzard Activision is publicly traded. They want to have their own IPO, and they want to. I guess their plans were put on hold because of the pandemic, but they're still looking to have an initial public offering. They have not had any details on the number of shares on the number of shares it plans to offer, and furthermore notes in standard legalese that their timely debut is subject to market conditions, essentially saying, hey, the middle of a pandemic is not the best time for an IPO.
Are you kidding me? It's Roblox. Everyone's sitting at home playing Roblox. Why wouldn't you?
Everyone's kids are, but also discretionary spending, because it is free to play, but there are in-game transactions that might be taking a hit. So maybe when the economy's on the upswing, but everyone's still trapped at home, that might be something to consider. But anyways, I'm sure that they have much smarter people than myself who are going to advise them on that. With that being said, Roblox offers an interesting sell to both consumers and developers, shipping a free-to-play version of the future, which pushes developers away from graphics-intense game design into a game that can be played on a wide variety of devices. If you've ever seen Roblox gameplay, you do not need a super and high-powered PC to play this. No, it is pretty easy on the hardware, but still pretty cool. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what they can do. I mean, again, it serves kind of the same niche as Minecraft, but like you said, Carissa, it also serves that social aspect as well. Like, right. I've even seen like classrooms being held in there. So
really,
oh yeah, for sure. It's hey, it's free to play. It's easy to log on, and they're already there. Why not do that? So, and by the way, I just let's see, no, not that one. I just found this article here talking about Netflix from the Insider, saying that they have a TV show problem where they keep canceling
this stuff,
all their shows. So
I was really mad when they canceled Bloodline, like super mad. Like, didn't watch Netflix for 3 months, mad.
And I'm trying to think. I think it's Netflix that's going to be making a Wheel of Time TV show. Wheel of Time TV.
We'll get ready for only 3 seasons of it, man.
That's 3 more than I thought I'd ever get it. I'm sorry. That's going to be on Prime Video. So there you go. Nice. Maybe one day. Probably not though, but one can hope. Anyways. So let's see, there's that article. Let's see, there's, let's talk about this one. Okay. I could get in, I definitely could have gotten into politics, but we're not going to go there. So this is the New York Times saying that on Facebook, misinformation is more popular now than in 2016. And what we saw in 2016, for those of you who don't know, it was election meddling, and they call it election meddling because it was not an overt hack or compromise or anything like that. No, they were misinformation campaigns using the tools on Facebook and Twitter to reach a target audience and a broader audience about misinformation. You could track down and say, 50 plus white females who lived in the Midwest and are of this religious belief. I want them to see this information. And you could, very quickly point to maybe, Sharia law is sweeping across the nation. And suddenly the group that would be most receptive to your misinformation campaign would be the only ones to see it and, would really latch on to that idea. So that's what happened in 2016. There was a large misinformation campaign to discredit or sow chaos and misinformation in the electorate in 2016. That happened. There's no doubt about that. Cambridge Analytica, blah, blah, blah. They're all the groups that helped to do that. Now, I say that because this article here from the New York Times saying on Facebook, misinformation is more popular now than in 2016, because I think we've gotten to the point where we're so polarized as a nation when it comes to politics that instead of waiting for advertisements to kind of tell you what's going on and kind of these posts that are forced into your feed, no, everyday people are looking at stories that they believe but aren't necessarily true, and they're spreading them as fact, and that's causing a lot of issues. They're saying that people are engaging more on Facebook today with news outlets that routinely publish misinformation than they did in 2016. And that's according to new research by the German Marshall Fund Digital, the digital arm of a public policy think tank. The organization, which has a data partnership and startup NewsGuard and a social media analytics firm, published its findings on Monday. In total, Facebook's likes and comments and shares of articles from news outlets that regularly publish falsehoods and misleading content tripled from the third quarter of 2016. So I think, though, Carissa, a big part of this also has to do with
COVID,
the fact
frankly.
that... Well, I'm sorry, with what?
With COVID, just because everyone's sitting at home reading all this garbage.
Yes, instead of going to your local diner and hanging out with your friends and talking about your crazy theories that you might have heard of, no, you're trapped in home and you're looking up even crazier theories, and you're looking up even more bullcrap that just isn't true. And I even got this from from a friend talking about her mother, and the sad part is the election's already a very dubious time. There's both sides claiming things and misconstruing facts, politics as usual. But then you throw in COVID. And when I say that, my friend's mother, she does her best to look up information, try to stay informed, find the right information, because, she's scared. It's a pandemic. The science of it all just doesn't really, make sense to her. She's looking for someone to explain it. And trust me, there are thousands of people looking to explain it to her that are total full of crap, just not true at all, but looking to spread misinformation. So unfortunately, these people think that they're being informed, they're trying to get informed, they're trying their best to go out there and find the right information, but
there's so much of the bad stuff out there, though.
The information that they find is just not factual, and it's so hard to wade through it, especially when you don't have a firm standing to begin with. So when they say that, COVID isn't that big of a deal, masks aren't effective or masks can harm you, they're not trying to push an agenda. They're just saying, look what I found. This is interesting. And obviously it's not true, but unfortunately it gets spread, and it's hard to tackle. So with that being said, Facebook obviously said that they're looking to label misinformation and things like that, and they're unfortunately, by the time they get to it and label something as false, it's already made the rounds and it's already gone viral. And, there's only so much time in the day. There's only so many moderators that can do this. It's a really hard problem to tackle. And I do find it interesting that even though social media companies have done everything that they could to tackle this, or they say they're doing everything that they can to tackle this, it's still worse than it's ever been before by like 3 times. It's really, really bad. So,
Yep.
Carissa, I think with that being said, we have like less than a minute here left. Some of the other stories, you have 2 here from the BBC that we didn't get to, including a drone used to bust a drug deal in China. Drones used for good. Who knew? I thought they were just used for bad. Let's see, there's that one, and actually I need to pull up this real quick and pull... Perfect. Music in the background. Okay,
Nice
music means
jazz
that we're done. But there's also Microbit mini computer gets a new update, which Microbit would probably be, just looking at it, a competitor to the Raspberry Pi and doing very basic computing. So, yep, there you go. Everyone, that's about it for today. I want to thank, of course, our guests over at Edifier for joining us and talking about their products and all the different speakers. They have a lot of great stuff. You should definitely go check them out. And of course, you can check out more at computeramerica.com. In the show notes, we'll have a link to all the stories, all the gadgets, everything you need to know. And Carissa, I think it was a good show.
Me too. I really was impressed with the offerings that Edifier had.
Yeah, me too. So everyone, with that being said, we're out of time. Have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
See ya.